Oh, god damn it! Oh, hi guys, welcome back to the show. You know, whenever I do a video about Joseph Rogan,
I like Joe.
there's always somebody, a Joe Rogan fan, they say, hey, man, you're just putting Joe Rogan's name in the title so you could get more clicks. And to that, I say, Adoy!
Adoy, weeknights at 8 on the CW.
But I promise you, this is not pure opportunism, all right? This guy is actually a hero of mine. He has been a hero of mine for a long time. David Mamet, sorry, that's stupid. David Mamet. I saw Glenn Ross.
You company man!
When I was young, I was like, oh, this is great. I read all his crap. I read his book, Bambi vs. Godzilla, or whatever that stupid thing's called. One movie that does not hold up, however, is Spanish Prisoner. I rewatched Spanish Prisoner.
What do I owe you for the membership?
You know what? Forget about it. Pay me when your ship comes in.
You know what? That may be presently.
Glad to hear it. Get a tip on a horse?
The widgets.
Campbell Scott, one of the great actors. Steve Martin. Unwatchable. Sorry, David. Sorry, David. But that's what happens when you're like, hey, if you go off script at all, you're fired. So David Mamet, that's David Mamet. He went on the Joe Rogan Experience. Okay, it was an experience. It's an experience, guys.
You fucking child.
And poor old David Mamet, he's a peepaw, okay? And like most of us, he cannot handle the internet. He cannot handle it. It has ruined him. He's one of the greatest playwrights / directors / writers of our time. Ruined by the internet. His brain is gone. It lives on Reddit now. He's gone.
So the left has always believed the idea of fascism. It means a bundle. Everything's together. Everything's for the state. Nothing against the state. Nothing outside of the state, as Mussolini said. And with the exception of those particular fascists, the Nazis, it's always been the left.
That's on YouTube. Oh my God. So this is 3 minutes in. 3 minutes in to the Joe Rogan Experience. And Mamet is already hitting Joe Rogan with the left are not the Nazis. The left are the fascists. God damn, bro. I think that this is the ultimate, like, you've been on the internet too long version of like a conservative. I don't even know what you would call it, because, you know, just a kind of a cursory peruse of some historical information is going to pour some water on this one. The Italians, you know, the Italian fascist who was fighting those guys, communists, socialists. There's a guy went by the name Tony Gramsci. The fascist threw his little ass in prison. But the other thing about this is, like, how would this apply to right now? That's what I would like to ask David. How would you apply this to right now? Okay, the left. What about free public college? Is that like a slippery slope toward Nazism or whatever? And this, I think, is why we need to start using my new product, which I call Peepaw Protect. Peepaw Protect is an innovative solution to our modern challenges of peepaws on the internet. Do you have a peepaw? He's on the computer, he's typing in like, oh, Jackie Robinson or some crap, and then he gets a video. Like a pop-up would come up for David Mamet, and it would ask him, like, hey, how does this thing that they're saying in this video that the left are fascist, the left has always been fascist, how does that apply to now? And can you give me some historical examples of this as well? Okay, but I also want to say, like, I'm not mad at Dave. He's going down the list of like what would we call, like, conserva content, YouTube conserva content. He's just hitting every talking point in this video, basically. But I cannot be mad at old David Mamet. He's just a peepaw. He's in his mid-70s, you know. It's elder abuse. The people who are putting these videos out, Dennis Prager should be tased. Charlie Kirk in a Minecraft, in a joke. In Elden Ring, they should be, you know, a sword should hit them or whatever, a lightning bolt or whatever happens in that goddamn crap. And the thing that I enjoy about a peepaw, in which you can see here in the video, is peepaws always look like somebody just kind of like put the clothes on them. You know, like they didn't dress themselves. Somehow they were walking, and as they were walking, like more clothes just got put, like the pants got put on them. They're like, I gotta go to the store. I always want to ask my dad, because he's a bit of a peepo. I'm like, where did you get those weird little pants and shirt? And I feel like he would be like, I don't know, Kohl's or something. I don't know.
Right? So the atheists say everything can be expressed rationally. For example, you know that the earth is burning up. You can tell that because sometimes things get warmer and sometimes things get colder. You can also tell that when things get colder, that's obviously because the earth is burning up, because the sun is melting the glaciers and the glaciers are raising the temperature. You can also tell, of course, that to be fair to everyone, children change sex. You know that, don't you? And you can tell that men can compete as women and women compete as men. This is all human confusion because we trust our senses and we trust our mind, and the mind just, it doesn't work real good, right? So there's Dennis Prager, you know, who I'm crazy about, said the other day, he said,
So there you go. David Mamet is getting taken for a ride by YouTube lunatics like Dennis Prager and all these guys. Oh, God. Nobody's show him Charlie Kirk. He'd be like, oh, this is a great young man. But the funny thing is, like, Joe, I think Joe kind of believes all this stuff, too. Like, Joe's not pushing back too hard on a lot of this stuff. I think Joe believes this, too. But Joe's not a peepaw. Joe is a pre-paw. And he's still into it. So that's kind of, you know, something kind of funny there. A pre-paw. So, all right. Climate change is fake. Trans people are scary. What was whatever the other one was? Oh, these women. The top issue of our day. Every day I wake up, right? And I look and I say, oh, still don't have health insurance. But then I'm like, but that's bullshit. What I need to focus on is women's sports. Women's sports at the like most elite level that I've never watched. That's what I'm concerned about. He's really worried about that too.
A, B, C. A always B, B, C closing.
A, B, C. Always be consuming YouTube content.
That's on YouTube.
So David, what's going on, man? What does all this mean? Who are these people that are doing all this bad stuff, man?
Lately, because it seems like, as you're saying, like from the left, you're getting a lot of what seems like very cult-like behavior. And this very cult-like, this ignoring of basic truth. Like if you question it at all.
there's no question about it.
Yeah. That's what's going on right now, right?
Sure, there's no question about it. So what the left is I hope nobody's listening when I say this because it's kind of it's
Come on, David.
extreme.
No one's going to listen.
It's a death cult. It's a cult about death.
Yeah, you know, we've been hearing this for years. You know, what, 5 or 6 years? Death cult. They're a death cult. Those people who watch CNN, MSNBC, that's a death cult, man. Those people who watch Fox News, they watch, you know, One America Online, whatever that crap is. That's a death cult. These people are a death cult, man. The truth is, of course, that neither one of these groups are a death cult, because a death cult is way cooler than that. Those people are dorks. I watch MSNBC, bro. A death cult, I think death cults came from like ancient Egypt, you know, and it was like people believed that the spirits of the dead still inhabited the living world, and we can harness those spirits to guide us, bro. And we could do rituals, you know. We could do rituals to get those spirits on our side, man. Which, that's pretty cool. You know, that's pretty cool in my opinion. Drinking potions to try to get the dead on your side and to honor them and all this crap. It's way cooler than just like, I watch Fox News. I watch CNN. This is a picture of me watching CNN. But if we did have to say, like, which is like the most cartoonish version of a cult, I mean, there's cult-like behavior in all kind of people, but if there's sort of a group of people who are kind of exhibiting like very, like almost like cartoonish cult-like behavior, I don't know. I would say, just me, you know, I'm a moron, but I would say just like, there's one guy who we all like, and he can do no wrong, and if you talk bad about him, you're denigrating our dude, and also we're not sure why we liked him, actually. There's no real logical reason. that's kind of cult. That's kind of culty. But he does go on because Joe Rogan pushes him on stuff over and over. He's like, "What are you talking about, David?" And then David just will like talk for 20 minutes, and then none of it will make any sense. But he does say something kind of interesting: is that he thinks the left, whatever that means, is a death cult because a lot of them are choosing not to have children because they're worried about climate change. Which there's an interesting discussion there. I think. If you're a smart, conscientious person who pays attention to things, you see like an IPCC report or whatever coming out, and the IPCC, you open the IPCC report, and it just has a picture of like a guy on fire. If you see that, you're sort of like, oof. Do I want to bring a kid into that? That's sort of I would say a pretty reasonable reaction. Look, this planet's not going to last anyway, so that's my take on it. You want to have a kid, have a kid. This thing's gonna catch on fire eventually. Is that sort of a stupid thing? Yes. Is it count? Should we still do things to try to counteract climate change? Of course. But as a moronic way to sort of explain, like, should I have a kid because of climate change? You should have a kid if you want to, because, look, this planet is a disaster anyway, There's spiders, bro, all this shit, man. I think a couple meteors hit this stupid thing at one point, so whatever.
Mentioned it.
Have you ever read any of Douglas Murray?
No.
Douglas Murray, who's a brilliant guy.
Definitely a brilliant guy. Hell yeah. Hey, ever heard of this guy, Douglas Murray? He's a brilliant guy. I saw him in a banner ad on YouTube where I find all my professors. People ask me, hey, where's your professors? And I say,
That's on YouTube.
A British intellectual. He said something that I've never forgot. I keep harping on it. That at the end of every civilization, when a civilization starts to crumble, they become obsessed with gender. They become obsessed with swapping gender, acting out in different genders, like gender nonconformity. And he doesn't have an answer why, but it's
it's shocking. Oh, that's shocking. He doesn't have an answer why. Oh, that's weird. Oh, man. But this is like a classic thing that I hear Joe talk about all the time. A lot of these sort of like the Charlie Kirkosphere and all these morons is like society is crumbling. It's like a crumbler, like a cake. The little crumblers on like an ice cream cake. It's like that, dude. It's delicious. It starts to crumble when something gender and gay people and stuff, and then society falls apart. Okay, how about this? If I want to go in Joe Rogan, I strut into Joe Rogan's studio. I kick down that sign in the back, and I ask him, Joe, what's more likely for society to crumble? All of our institutions to be in complete disrepair, housing, healthcare, education, the government completely controlled by business, or there's a gay guy on your block. which, let's weigh these out. There's a person wearing cat ears at the supermarket who works there. Is that more likely, or complete disrepair of all our institutions? Let me look at these two. And the thing is, Joe would get it. Joe would get the right answer, and then I would have to pick back up the thing that I kicked down and put it back up. And I'm like, sorry, Joe. Can I live here now?
The problem with our society, the problem with our country, the problem with the West is prosperity. Because it's what survives prosperity.
Are you aware?
Right. What billionaire's kid works for a living?
right. Very few.
None of them.
I have to mention, his daughter's on Girls. His daughter's the one on Girls, by the way. So you just throwing that out there.
Because none of them.
Doesn't Donald Trump Jr. work for a living?
Oh yeah, he does. Okay, I'll give him a pass. He comes from an extraordinary family.
That's the exception. That's the exception to the rule. Damn, these kids of these rich parents, they just coast. They just coast on their parents' wealth. Yeah, but what about Donald Trump Jr.? Oh, yeah, okay, so there are some exceptions. This is sort of weird timing, too, because a story just came out that Jared Kushner got 2 billion bones. Wow.
It is a little bit weird.
You know what they had to do to transport all that money? You know what they had to use to transport all that money?
Uber cars.
He got $2 billion from Mohammed bin Salman. I love the idea that they like work hard too. Like, yeah, Jared Kushner works so hard. Could you imagine Donald Trump Jr. working hard with the way that he's looks and is shaped?
And then he let me go. But we had to have this sort of conversation where he was insisting he could smell alcohol on me. I go, I haven't had anything to drink in a week. Like, this is not real. Like, you're saying this is not true. Like, I can't believe we're having this fucking conversation.
Yeah, right,
Well, look,
Joe.
the cops have a lot of power. The cops have always been rude men.
So Joe Rogan got pulled over by some cop in his story probably for no reason. He gets pulled over and the cop is kind of, it sounds like, giving him a hard time and insisting that he's drunk, which I guess the first thing I would say is welcome to Texas, I guess. The second thing is like, you would think that a cop would be asking for like Joe Rogan's autograph. So all of this makes me think, Joe, you were drunk. You were drunk, actually. But on the other hand, these Texas cops do, every time I've been pulled over, they're kind of like giving me a real hard time. You know, I had this one cop pull me over once and I had a cake like in a box in the passenger seat. And the cop, I don't even remember why I got pulled over, but he's like, "What's that?" I was like, "It's a cake. I'm gonna have to open that up. I think that might be laced. I'm gonna need to taste the frosting on that."
I'd be the second to tell you. My wife would be the first. Oh, I'm the only guy who ever got barred from Williams-Sonoma.
Did you really?
Yeah.
How do you get barred from that place?
I'll tell you.
It's filled with jam and nice
I know,
kitchenware.
it's so wonderful. So I park at Williams-Sonoma, and I come in through the back door, the parking lot. And this woman says, "Excuse me, sir, did you not see that sign that says this is not an entrance, it's an exit? You came in through the wrong side." I said, "It's okay, I'm an illegal immigrant." She says, "I find that
Okay. Okay.
a very, very offensive comment. Would you please leave?"
So because you joked around and said, "It's okay, I'm an
Even Joe's having a hard time with this one.
illegal immigrant," she wanted you to leave?
Yeah,
And
found
she's
it-
just an employee there?
Yeah, but she's all the other people were over there, and yeah. And
They all were saying you gotta leave?
No, they were all nodding.
Hell yeah, dude. This is a new character. Conservative Larry David. You know, he parks in the wrong parking space or whatever. They're like, "Hey, sir, you can't park there." He's like, "I'm an illegal immigrant. Sir, we're going to need you to leave." Okay. Instead of Jeff from Curb Your Enthusiasm, it could be Dennis Prager could play that part. He's like, "Oh my God, David, what are you doing? You're kicked out of Williams-Sonoma now." Like one episode would be him and Dennis Prager like in a bathroom and they're like looking under the stall because they think there's like a trans person. They think there's a trans woman in the woman's bathroom or something. And then it turns out that it's like a little kid or something, and the mom is like, "You were looking at my kid," and they're like, "Oh no." Rip dip dip.
In this country, it's pretty fucking cool. It's the coolest country in that regard, is that we're all immigrants. Everybody here. There's no like, you know, if you go to China, generally speaking, Chinese people look Chinese. They, you know, that's just generally speaking, Chinese people look Chinese.
Right.
Generally speaking, Chinese people look Chinese.
Exactly. I really agree with Joe on that one. Speaking, Chinese people look Chinese. So poor old Davey Mamet, he goes on reciting he goes into some more racist stuff, let's just say, as all grandpas do. As a peepaw is wont to do, it slides directly into racism out of nowhere very quickly. But it's elder abuse from PragerU and Charlie Kirk and all these Candace Owens, all these lunatics who take advantage of the unfortunate and the elderly. But I will say that this episode is a little bit inspiring because, you know, my whole life, my whole adult life, I'm like, David Mamet is a genius. I'll never be a genius on that level. I'll never be able to write stuff that good or do anything that good. But now I know he's just a kook. He's just an internet bullcrap, susceptible ding-dong like me and like everyone else. Rip, dip, dip. So guys, if there's one thing that we all learned today, it's that,
generally speaking, Chinese people look Chinese.
And always remember that. Happy Wednesday, guys. One of the worst days, but it's good to know that there's a place we can escape. Oh, Wednesday sucks. but there's a place we can escape, a place we can go, and we know where that is.
That's on YouTube.
Bye-bye. Hey guys, you're only getting a fraction of the weekly shows. If you want a new motherfucking episode every day, subscribe on Patreon for as little as 2 bones. You get the patron-only Tuesday and Thursday shows, the Bookablega show where we look at important books, and the goddamn weekly behind-the-scenes show. And for only 25 bones, you could become a producer and get your name up here. Look at these people. These people make this show possible. If it wasn't for them, nothing. We don't have a show. We got nothing, and it's garbage. And we have to just leave. We have to just basically walk away, and we don't even really know where we're walking. That's the truly troubling part about all this. But please, become a patron today. For as little as 2 bones, or 5 bones is another level, or 10, or you go the full 25 and you get up here. Big special thanks to these people. Love you guys so much.